All right, here comes the boss. While he's logging on, I'm going to put in the chat the link to this evening's board packet. All right.
Are we ready for a roll call?
I think so, if you're ready.
Yep, I am ready. Can we have a roll call, please?
Matt Hausman,
Here.
Sorry, I think I need to call to order. Sorry about that. So I'll call to order the Champaign County Mental Health Board meeting, February 22nd, 2023. And then, sorry, now can we please have a roll call?
Matt Hausman,
Still here.
Daphne Maurer,
Here.
Alexa McCoy, Molly McClay,
Here.
Joe Omosagie,
Here.
Elaine Plencia,
Here.
Jen Straub, Jane Sprandel,
Here.
John Paul Joachim.
Here. So the next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Yes.
Yeah.
I move to approve the agenda.
Second.
Can we have a roll call or a vote?
Daphne Maurer,
Yes.
Molly McClay,
Yes.
Joe Omosagie,
Yes.
Elaine Plencia,
Yes.
Jen Straub, Jane Sprandel,
Yes.
Matt Hausman,
Yes.
John Paul Joachim.
Yes. All right. The next item is citizen input and public participation. We'll limit participation to 5 minutes per person. If there's anybody in the audience that would like to make a statement or a comment, now is the time. I don't see anybody in the chat either. So we'll go on to my comments. I know we got a lot to cover today. I do want to say thank you to all the agencies that submitted their applications on time. I know you guys are working hard and it takes a lot of work. I know later we are going to talk about some other agencies that did not submit their application. At this point, I am a little disappointed. We opened the application process for 5 weeks, and it seems like agencies sometimes wait till the last day to submit applications instead of doing things in a more timely manner, asking questions before the end of the day or before the day of. The one thing, I know not being able to apply for funding is a hardship for agencies. And I know we're going to talk about possibly opening up the application process again, but I want agencies to understand that this is a hardship on the staff. It is going to increase burnout on our staff. That's not okay. Our staff works very hard and are often very accommodating. And I want our staff to work during business hours only. I don't want them to be working outside of business hours. I really don't want, to build this expectation that they're always going to be available outside of business hours or respond to emails outside of business hours, because that's not realistic, and that's going to create a lot of stress and burnout. And just having to do these meetings and have these discussions more and set these agendas up to reopen application process, this puts a lot of burden on staff. So that being said, in future years, there may not be, even in this year, there may not be enough funding. And honestly, I don't speak for the board, but I speak for myself in saying that those that are applying late are not gonna be in the priority of funding, in my opinion. When we're looking at who is gonna get funding, that is going to be a determining factor in my vote of who I'm voting for getting funding and who doesn't, because it's a sign of, you know, being consistent and being responsible for the duties that you have. And, you know, waiting until last minute, that's not okay, in my opinion. Even as much as I love the agencies and the work they do, it's going to be a hardship, and it's sometimes, you know, there are going to be consequences for having not following the rules. So, but that's just my comments. So we'll move on to Lynn's comments.
Hi, thank you. So right after we got done receiving applications, I did some conferencing, and I am so excited to bring you probably 150 pages of conference session notes next month. I know everyone looks forward to those. To just really jump to the punchline for all of that, so much of what I heard coming from federal authorities about what we should do in the mental health space and substance use disorders, not, you know, I heard much less about DD, more than I ever have, but not as much as I do about mental health and substance use disorders. So many of the great new ideas are things that this board has been working on for a long time, and that this community has been doing for a long time. So I felt really proud of us while I was there. I mean, and you know, it was nice to sit with colleagues from all over the country who are also doing some of these innovative things. And anyway, it was just really great. So you will absolutely enjoy every one of the 150 pages that are coming, but that's next month. So this month, we're going to start, the agenda is organized, unfortunately, to start out with some really good stuff and then kind of dive into hard issues, and even, you know, just into the weeds with me a little bit about where some of our policies come from, and then maybe some decisions for y'all toward the end of the meeting that might be tough. I didn't do that on purpose, but I like that there's some good stuff. So I'm going to stop talking so that you can move into all that business.
All right, so the next item is approval of the CCMHB board meeting and study session minutes on pages 3 through 8. They're the minutes from January 18th, 2023, and the study session from January 25th. So I'll give people a moment to look at it, see if there's anything they want to comment on. And then if there's no comments, does someone want to make a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
All right, I'll second the motion. Can we have a roll call?
Molly McClay,
Yes.
Joe Omoasagie,
Yes.
Elaine Palencia,
Yes.
Jane Sprandel,
Yes.
Matt Hausman,
Yes.
Daphne Maurer,
Yes.
John Paul Joachim.
Yes. All right, the next item is the vendor list on pages 9 through 11. I'll give people a moment to look at that, and then we'll make a motion to approve when people are ready.
Stephanie, this is Alexa. I'm here.
Okay, thanks.
That's it.
All right. Does anyone want to make a motion?
Yes. Go ahead, Joe.
I make a motion to approve the vendor list as presented.
Do I have a second?
Yes, I'll second it.
Can I get a roll call, please?
Elaine Valencia,
Yes,
Jane Sprandal,
Yes.
Matt Hausman,
Yes.
Daphne Maurer,
Yes.
Alexa McCoy,
Yes.
Molly McClay,
Yes.
Joe Omosagie,
Yes.
John Paul Yoakim.
Yes. So the next item on the agenda is new business. So we have the agency program mid-year progress report. We have the Rosecrans Clinical Service Director, Dave Kellerhalls, and the grant management liaison, Gail Rainey, that will present.
Hello, Lynn, do you want us to do the PowerPoint or are you going to?
Do you, if you have it readily available and you want to do it, that's great, because then you can move the slides as you like. But I have,
Okay,
if you don't, I have it up.
all right, I'll give it a whirl. Bear with me just a moment. All right, we should be good to go. Are you seeing it on your end? Okay, so thank you. I'm Gail Rainey. I'm the Grant Management Administrator and Community Liaison for Rosecrans, and I have Dave Kellerhalls, my colleague, who is responsible for the clinical services at Rosecrans. And we're here to give, it's not actually even a mid-year report on this program specifically, because it's the contract for this program started in October. So we have just one full quarter's worth of information on our child and family program. We'll take you through the program overview and also talk about the implementation thus far of this new program, and talk about some of the lessons that we learned in the first quarter, as well as some of the accomplishments. And again, remembering that it's just one quarter's worth of information that we have so far. The program actually is housed at our 801 North Walnut location, and it was created in a response to the community need, and actually also at the request of CCMHB to put together a program that was focused on the youth in our community, but a little bit more intensive services. The program is really a team approach, which consists of a licensed clinician, a nurse, and a psychiatrist. The need for the services really grew quite substantially actually during the pandemic, and we continue to see a high need for these services in our community. The services are focused on youth, as the name suggests, but offers counseling and family sessions for the youth and their family members. The licensed clinician also provides case management, linkage to other resources in the community. And also some of that case management is the team coordination with the nurse and the psychiatrist as well. Addressing the mental disorders for youth and adolescents early in their lives, we know the research shows, can lead to improved functioning at home, in the schools, and in the community, but also can positively impact their physical health as well. So we put together this program to try to address all of those pieces, which is why there's this team approach to it. The clinician provides not only the counseling sessions, but also works with the nurse and psychiatrist along with the family to create the family-driven, person-centered, and trauma-informed treatment plan. So the family and the youth all have input into the creation of the treatment plan, which involves the appropriate members of the team as well. In the first quarter, we saw a number of youth who actually requested services, but we were surprised because we thought early on that we would see a certain number of people that wanted the services and would continue in the services, but we actually had more people than we anticipated come in, request the service, but then not follow through with the assessment or not engage in the treatment planning process. However, we did have a total of 12 youth and families who did participate in the first quarter, complete the assessment, complete the treatment plan, and engage in services. We provided a total of 87 different contacts with those youth and family members as a team, and also in the individual members of the team providing different services as well. We are on track to meet the predictions of what we anticipated for this program, and actually we're on track to exceed some of the numbers. Having said that, we still are at a point where we currently do not have a wait list right now, and we'll talk about that in just a little bit. So the implementation actually was a very quick implementation. The contract went into place October 1st, and we actually started services immediately. We had a clinician already who was interested in helping us with this program, and so she agreed and got trained up in play therapy to also enhance some of the services that she was already trained in providing. The part that took us longer than anticipated, but we should have known in today's environment, was the recruitment of a nurse. And so we did have nurses and other staff from other departments helping to cover some of the duties that the nurse typically would cover. And we do currently have in place now a nurse through a nursing agency. We completed some outreach and coordination with referral sources, getting the word out about the program, because it's not just a program for psychiatry purposes. It's actually the counseling with the psychiatry if the psychiatry piece is needed. And so trying to educate referral sources and families that you do need to have a mental health assessment with us and have a mental health counseling treatment plan open. It's a little bit different than just going to a different provider and asking just for psychiatry services. So this is a team approach and involves all of those pieces. We also developed a process for walk-in assessments so that there is not a wait list for assessments, and people can come in Monday through Friday and get an assessment if all the slots aren't filled for that day. Most of the time, people are able to come in and get an assessment that same day. We also have evening appointments available, which is important, especially for this demographic, because we know that we're trying to help the youth stay in school, and it's hard sometimes for families and for the youth to have appointments that are during the day. So we've worked hard to try to schedule around school time if at all possible. And I'll hand off to Dave.
Thank you, Gail. So some of the lessons learned, as Gail had said earlier, it wasn't just offering psychiatry services. We wanted to make sure that those individuals were also receiving counseling, and as we know, it's important to have both of those pieces at the same time. We ran into issues where the family just wanted psychiatry. They had a counselor or therapist that they were already close with, had developed rapport, and didn't want to switch. And we would, of course, never encourage them to do so. But then we also had to, refer them out to other psychiatry options, as much as we wanted to be able to service those needs. And then, of course, if they weren't happy with their current clinician or therapist and wanted to switch, then we could make that happen and bring them in for both services. But certainly a lot of requests for just psychiatry, which we understand, the need is there, but we wanted to hold true to our need for having a mental health counseling treatment plan as well, not just the psychiatry services. So we're going to stick with that, even though it was, I guess, potentially a barrier for our getting our psychiatrists, the clients. Other barriers, as we know, with some of the population that we serve in this area, the case management needs of the clients and their families were quite a bit in certain instances. And so we are looking at some of these concerns in particular cases and looking towards the development of maybe a special case management team for this population. We're in the very early period of that, monitoring it and seeing where the needs are. But and as you know, it's difficult to benefit from the therapy if the basic needs aren't being met. And so our clinicians, again, they've done the case management piece before. They're well trained in getting some of those the basic stuff accomplished, and but finding time for that and therapy in a week or biweekly can be challenging. So so we recognize that and are looking to find additional program for that. And then additionally, as the program grows, again, it's only one quarter, but we're actively working towards having group therapy sessions available for these individuals. And so we've got a couple, the clinician that we have assigned for this particular program and others working towards gathering that interest, making sure we have all the space and the items that we need to perform these groups. And so our hope in the coming quarters is to have at least one, maybe two groups going actively for this population. Let's see, next slide. Some accomplishments. We're pleased to announce we don't currently have a wait list and haven't throughout the quarter. So we are also trying to get the word out through our own, leveraging our own marketing abilities with Rosecrans and going to community events, and any meeting I'm in and I have the opportunity to announce it, I do, and same for Melissa and Gail and some of our other leaders. So we really want to get the word out that we've got availability immediately, knowing that for some people not being able to see the psychiatrist because they already have a counselor, but explaining that we know that the need is out there, and so connecting that or filling that gap and getting the word out that these services are available. So I guess that's a cheap way to plug this here as well. Please get the word out for us if you haven't already, that we are open and ready to take them in. Just seen an overall increase in the number of youth served, as you saw the data that Gail presented in an earlier slide. And so we of course look forward to that to continue to grow, but it's nice to see that the word is getting out and people are trickling in and finding value in it. And we are getting some positive feedback about the psychiatrist as well, which is really nice. And she's a really wonderful, caring individual who, although she is telehealth, she spends time with the individual, listening to what's going on, spending that time with them to find out what's going on, and just having that caring, empathetic demeanor, even in a virtual setting. So, so we look forward to seeing her grow more and more clientele and hearing more about the positive impact that she's having on them in combination with their clinician. Let's see. Next slide. Some quick mission moment here. Again, we're early on in it, but one of our clinicians was giving me an update on a client that seeing both her and the psychiatrist, and before coming in, they were using alcohol and marijuana quite frequently, running away from home three or four times, had at one point stolen the guardian's vehicle while intoxicated, which landed them in some legal trouble, as well as some inpatient hospital stays due to self-harm and suicidal ideations. And so that individual is still in services with us, and the family reported to the clinician that they have returned to school after not attending prior to coming into counseling, and they have noticed a marked improvement in their mental health symptoms and a decrease in their substance use. And so that's the overall goal, and we'd like to see that with everybody that comes through the door. And so we look forward to having more of those feel-good stories as we move through this year and the development of the program. So. Any questions or thoughts or ideas?
Well, I just want to say, you guys are knocking this out of the park. The amount of patients you've already seen in the short amount of time is amazing. I don't know how you've done it, but that's awesome. So thank you. Congratulations. And I hope this continues to progress as it's progressing already. So great job.
Thank you, John.
As someone who also works in the community, I'd like to say just how encouraging it is to hear about more case management options for families, and also to hear about positive interactions with psychiatrists in town. Wow, that is just the best thing I've heard all day. Thank you.
All right. With no other questions, thank you, Dave and Gail, for your presentation. So we'll move on to the next item, which is the participatory research project, the agency leadership. Leon is going to present on this subject.
All right, thank you. I will try my best and be still with this computer as it is on my lap. So without further ado, yes, this was an outstanding research project. And I have to say that, I have a couple of all-stars with me, and they are the researchers who assisted us in carrying out the project. And so I'll introduce them in a hot second here, but initially I was a bit hesitant to take on this project because I didn't know much about participatory research. And so, Dr. DeRotis worked with me, gave me some time to think it over. I thought about it. And what made me jump into the project was our agency leaders. And so we know that our agency leaders are the catalyst for the quality of services that they provide to the consumers in the community. We also know that they build infrastructure in their organizations. We also know that they create the culture which promotes service. And so I thought, well, if we're going to take on this project, then we should focus on leaders, agency leaders. And so over the next few months, I began working with several of our students, several of the university students, to develop questions around agency leadership. And so with me, I have Sarah, I have Young, and I have Chelsea here. And so they can also assist in talking a little bit about the project. Over the course of a few weeks, months, we laid out the project, what it was going to entail. We had questions, specific questions geared towards agency leadership. And so those questions were related to barriers that would prevent leaders from being at their optimal level. So what are the barriers? We went from that perspective into the research. From there, we spent time talking about, just drafting the theoretical framework for the research. What are we going to look at? How are we going to make this work for the agencies, the CCMHB leaders? So we developed that. And then from that point on, my outstanding, we're called Team Flex. And so the researchers began to work with some of our agency leaders. They reached out to them. They created a pre-survey to ascertain information about leadership and how it works for the leaders. And from that point on, we began to not develop, but work with GLA, which is a group level leadership, group level assessment that would ultimately cap or end December, I think 12th, or December 9th, I'm sorry, from 12 to 2 at Champaign County Public Library. And at that point, we had about approximately 17 agency leaders participate in that, many of them who are on this call right now. And so it was an awesome opportunity for them to network, share their experiences, but talk about some of the struggles, some of the challenges, the successes they've had as leaders in their roles as leaders in their agencies. And so I'll pause because I can keep going on. I have Sarah and Hayoung and Chelsea here who did all of the hard work in connecting with the leaders. And so if any of you three have, want to have a little input, now is the time.
Hi, everyone. So Sarah here. I was one of the members of the team. And I think I would like to take the opportunity to just say thank you to CCMHB for the partnership and just that interest. And like Leon said, there might have been that hesitation at the beginning because there was no idea what this participatory research approach was going to look like. Neither did we, even as the students. So this was all new, but there was that excitement and interest. And I think more so the fact that this is our community as well. So we are not just students at the university, but we're very much invested in the community, was good motivation for us to get on board and to work together with Leon and also the leaders who showed constant interest when we reached out to them and shared the experiences with us, which provided a lot of insight for us to understand what their leadership experiences have been, upon which we then went ahead, to share some recommendations for how things can even get better in the various institutions. So we very much appreciate the opportunity to work with CCMHB and the agency leaders. So thank you.
I didn't get a chance to participate in the group level assessment discussion to make sure that I didn't bias the research by being in there with the leaders, with the agency leaders. So, Sarah, if you could speak for a moment about what you saw, what the dynamics were like in there, that would be awesome.
Thank you, Leon. So the group level assessment is a 7-step, process that is used to assess, perceptions or inputs on different issues. And so we had leaders in that space, and with the various steps that we went through, we provided the opportunity for them to share their thoughts. So just imagine a room. We had posters on the wall with about 10 questions. Now, these questions were generated from the pre-survey that we had conducted earlier. So in the pre-survey, we had asked leaders about, barriers and challenges they face as leaders in the organization. We equally asked about, strengths that they believe they have as leaders, characteristics of effective leadership, just questions to really understand their experiences. So based on the responses we got from that pre-survey, we were able to craft about 10 questions that would allow us to even investigate more some specific things that came up in those pre-surveys. So we had those questions on flip charts in the room, and for about 30 minutes, leaders had the opportunity to go from question to question to share their thoughts. It facilitated, a lot of interest and input from the leaders, because then you have as many inputs that you want to write on a sticky note, you have the flexibility to do that. We saw leaders engaging with each other. After that phase of, making that input, leaders went into group sessions where they could even discuss more into detail at that group level and try to find emerging themes from the responses that had come up. So that was another way of leaders coming together to engage and to share, even insights and more. And then the final stage, we went into try to generate some more inputs together as a larger group. One aspect of the GLA was for us to have like action steps, like, okay, what are the things that we're going to do from here? Because we've spoken about challenges and barriers. Now, for the sake of time, we're not able to really get into those action steps to clearly hear from leaders, these are the things we want to do. And so what we did as the research team, when we came back, we began to put together all the sticky notes. So we kept all the flip charts and all the sticky notes, and then we began to play around to try and find, okay, these are the themes that emerged. Some of the responses were clearly action steps, like these are things that can be done. So then we began to fish out some of those action steps. And that was what also fed into the recommendations that we have in our reports. But it was a Friday afternoon. Leaders gave their time, 12 to 2 hours, actively engaging. The post survey that we did, we asked leaders, like, are they interested in sessions like this? If CCMHB organizes things like this, would they be interested? And I think our joy is that majority of them said yes, either every 3 months or every 6 months. So we're excited to know that leaders are interested in getting together from time to time like this, engaging with other leaders, trying to understand from each other, how are things going in your organization? How can we come together and network together and share resources? So yeah, I don't know if Hayong and Chelsea might want to add anything if I missed anything.
Hi, my name is Hayang. I was also part of the Team Flex project, and yeah, I just wanted to echo what Sarah just shared, and I really wanted to be like contributable in any ways with this project, but I thought that I got benefited from this partnership a lot. I've been able to have like invaluable experiences that I would have never had only from I would say schoolwork, by engaging with the leaders, and I was able to see like the collective intelligence that the leaders had, and Leon was so supportive and really passionate about like creating the open space for those like collective activities to really happen. So it was such a great like educational and impressive experiences personally for me, and we put much effort in our report. So please be on the lookout, and I really hope that would be really helpful for your leadership experiences in some ways. Thank you so much for those of you who have made like invaluable inputs into this project. Thank you.
Yes, the report, thank you, Hayang. The report is actually in the board packet. We also have a few leaders here, agency leaders here, who can speak to their experience with the group level assessment discussion, if they so choose to do so. But overall, I thought, this was an outstanding project. I think the networking was tremendous. I'd like to see many of our agency leaders could carry on that networking where they can build on, staffing issues, retention, training, you name it. I think hopefully this is just the springboard for something great to come along in the future. And so again, outstanding report. If you get a chance to take a look at it, read it. It's well written. It's outstanding work, and hats off to Team Flex and especially the agencies and Ms. Lynn Canfield for supporting the efforts. Questions, thoughts?
I really enjoyed reading the report because usually when our board interacts with agencies and agency leaders, it's because there's some kind of an issue to solve, So it was very nice to see the workings of the agency leaders getting together in another context and finding the common problems. I really like the idea of mentoring that came up as a suggestion going forward. And I liked learning the term helicopter science and that this wasn't that. So that's something to look out for, actually, for me as a board member. Well, is this helicopter science, or is there more general input into the things that we're being told? So I really enjoyed your report. Thank you.
Leon and maybe some of the agency leaders might be able to address this, because when I was looking through the report, something that struck me, and it came up in Leon's notes as well, as the networking and mentoring and stuff. And it kind of dawned on me because I just happened to have a couple of similar conversations in the last couple of months. And basically the idea being that it's a relatively small community, and a lot of people in the social services industry kind of are only 1 or 2 degrees of separation away anyway. So my question is, with this kind of event and this call for more networking, was this GLA, was it very helpful in that networking specifically targeted to the work we're doing on mental health issues and stuff, or just because there is a lot of other opportunities and other organizations doing networking and mentorships for social services and such, and want to make sure we're not being redundant in that realm. So I don't know if Leon has something kind of to talk to that, especially Leon, since you have worked in different segments of the social service community in Champaign-Urbana. So.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I think this was a great opportunity for our agency leaders to sit down and talk about the various issues that they're facing, whether it's staffing, whether it's, man, we need some more training on bookkeeping, or we need more help with, or we need to ask questions about, finding, the right CPA firms, and whatever the case may be. This was an open platform for those to be able to say, hey, to let their hair down, to say, hey, this is what I'm struggling with. What are you struggling with? What are your resources? How's that working? As I said before, Matt, I didn't get a chance. I wasn't allowed to sit in the room. I wish I could have sat in that room to hear all of the great discussion going on. I see Joan is smiling, and Pat is smiling. And so they may be able to, and even Brenda, so they may be able to speak a little bit more about what was going on inside. But I just wanted us to create that opportunity to have all the leaders, or as many as we could, in the same space, because we know that each leader is a catalyst for what they do. And so, as you pointed out, it is a small community. Their chances are that they're going to talk about their work, some of the strengths, some of the issues that they're facing. And so, I would, pass that on to the agency leaders, who could probably tell you a little bit more about what really went on inside. I think, yeah.
I'll give it a shot. It wasn't it wasn't something you want to step up for, or go to a meeting when you don't have to because you're not getting money, or you're having problems with your program, or the typical kind of things that we would be talking about, whether it's within your own types of programs or whatever. It was a meeting that we all chose to come to, and a couple of things that were just to talk about leadership, what it's like from a leadership, that perspective. We don't really do a lot of networking that way. At least I haven't in a long time. So it was really good. And in 2 hours, I think I got a workout because they moved us around and we were crossing. No, you need to move. And so it was really a good time. No, this isn't a pondering thing. It's what's at the top of your head, what's going on, and a lot of validation. And it was great to hear from younger leaders, since I'm an older leader. So it's nice to hear the perspectives from different program areas. I thought it was well worth it, and to see action plans coming out and having the team there to help that. Usually one has to keep, somebody else of the group would have to keep notes, and then it's just another stressor. So to have that there and a report, and actually I do look forward to getting back together. And there was a really good representation of people at the meeting.
I think Pat is right. It was a discussion of leadership, and so often I think we have the opportunity to network, but it is around a specific issue or whatever. And this opportunity, the reason I liked it and the thought of mentorship was because there were a number of folks in there who knew each other and had known each other for a while. There are also a number of folks that didn't know each other and, didn't know the older generation in the room or didn't know the younger generation in the room. And so the mentorship would not, in my mind, be about mental health issues, for instance. It would be how to be a good leader of your group, how to interact with others, how to spread your message. So just from the leadership perspective, I thought it was very helpful. I too look forward to another few sessions.
again, because of being one of the older leaders, one of the more experienced leaders in the room, I think, you know, I learned a lot, but I think there are others that I can help as well.
Just a quick jump in there. I mean, one of the things that we know works is mentorship, and not just mentorship to children in school, but mentorship amongst leaders with maturity and leaders who are coming up, and gives everybody a chance to not burn out, because you exchange ideas and you exchange energy, and that's really what keeps you motivated and engaged in this process. But thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. And actually, Joan, you might be the perfect one to answer this then, because since you said it's not necessarily mental health, is this something we would probably want to work along with the Community Foundation or a United Way to broaden that leadership kind of stuff?
Yeah, I think that would be fine. You know, the Health and Human Services sector in our county is a significant portion of nonprofits, but there are other nonprofits that are doing great stuff. Sola Gratia has grown food. The food bank has given food away. Those are folks who touch upon health and human services, but it is the main piece of business that they do.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you, everybody. We'll be moving on to the next item on the agenda, which is the CCMHB application review process.
You ready? The next few items are actually related, and now we're getting in the weeds. What's not in this memo is that for infinity years, the mental health board staff have done program summaries, which are written reviews of all the applications. I didn't put that in here because we just do it. I think it's important to say because they take a long time. I have to do my part, which is going to be about 2 every day, including Saturdays, for the next till mid-March, when the rest of the team gets to see those and put their input, and everybody's reading the applications right now. So these can sometimes take a whole day. So that's the piece we guarantee to the board. I don't know if all of it is useful to you, but it's based on questions that previous boards have had about applications. We include any concerns that we might have about a program because of current performance or previous performance. So it's kind of, it's pretty comprehensive, maybe overkill. So 6 years ago, the board kind of said, well, you know, we want to get more involved in that review process and do it in a different way, a little less overkill, a little more overview, and also for board members to direct the conversation about their review of applications. So we started this process where, you know, the applications are kind of divided up among board members, and you can review it as deeply as you want to, or just rely on the staff review. But when we all get together during the April meetings, which I think it's a meeting and a study session for discussion of the applications, there's a leader and then a secondary reviewer. So that's the structure that we've been doing for a while, for 5 or 6 years. And if you want to keep doing it, we're ready for that. And the timeline, this is the timeline that's been published in that document that's always in the board packet for quite a while. This is the timeline that supports that process if you want to do that process. A little bit later, we're going to consider some special requests, which might change this timeline a little bit. And that's part of what we can talk about. But basically, this is just kind of an overview of the standard procedure and when we would like agencies to be at the April meetings, during which their applications will be discussed. And we can try to group them so that people don't have to come to both meetings if they don't want to. But then in May, I think it's very likely that in May we are back in person, and we'll try to continue having the Zoom component for people who do not have a financial interest in the board's discussion, and then members of the public can attend through Zoom. And hopefully we can continue to use it as a way to get a closed caption or a transcript of the meeting, because that would be really great if we can add that little bit of accessibility. So anyway, this is a suggested checklist for board members to use. You don't have to, but Dr. Fowler developed this when she was the chair of the mental health board, and people were using it. We update it each year to match with what the priorities document indicates we're looking for. That might not be the most important or interesting thing to you about the application, so it's really just an option, and I can email the Word version of that for all of you if you want to. If you do want to use it, I can email that to you tomorrow to use. And anyway, here are the applications that were submitted. I've already started reading some. Leon and Kim and I changed the format of the program summary this year to blend the things that we had done last year. It's streamlined a little bit. And I've already started reading some of these applications. It's really good stuff. I want to just celebrate that, like, there are some really great ideas in this community. So I think you will enjoy looking at them when you get a chance to. And I can send out PDFs of all the applications tomorrow as well, or you can access them through the online system if you like. Down here is the big information. There are about $5.7 million of requests plus obligations that we already have through multi-year contracts. So that comes out of the same amount of money that we've budgeted. This amount is a little bit less than what we have in the budget, or it's a little more than what we have in the budget for this year. But then the trick of budgeting here is that I have to wait for the 2024 tax projections, which are not available to me until about April. And then I can tell you really how much money you have to spend. So it's possible that you could spend about this much and be fine. It might even be better, but I won't know that until April, till you're well along into the review process. I know that's kind of disappointing, but anyway, so I think that's all about that. And then these are the DD, sorry, it's sideways. These are the DD applications. And they also come in very close to the amount that looks to be affordable this year. A lot of new applications to the DDB as well. Those are really fun. Anyway, you can always look at DD applications too. And here's the big, maybe it's not a surprise to anyone. No one applied for the special initiatives funding. We did have some interest, but the interest was expressed about 2 days before the deadline. So I think the people who would have been able to submit a good application here and it would have worked really well for them too, just didn't have enough time to do it. So nothing came in there. We'll start talking after you are done with decisions for the batch that we're looking at. Then we can start talking maybe with the DD board as well about what else we could do with that fund. There is a lot, I think, a lot of potential, and there are board members, I think, on both boards who have ideas that we haven't even gotten to yet. So we should probably have a study session around June, maybe, to get you together and just, you know, we just put together different funding priorities, or maybe it's an RFP process, but it's not time to think about it yet. Anyway, so that's it for the first of our trifecta.
Are there any questions? All right, seeing none, we can move on to the next item, which is the risks of loss noted in requirements.
So this one, I don't know if it's okay to say who, but one of you helped me so much to put this together after years of talking about these issues, you know, kind of suggested maybe it would be good to explain the context for some of the requirements that they don't come up all the time. And when they come up, I expect that it will be just a one-on-one case-by-case conversation with each agency. But these are things that are maybe unique to the mental health board and the DD board because of the nature of the funds. because they're public trust funds established under statutes, which are quite limited in their use. And like also in a weird space as far as like human services. So some of the things that we ask for maybe seem strange to the agencies, but this is just to give some more context for that. I don't expect not to talk to people about it and, try to understand what's going on just because of having this one memo available, but it just seemed like it might be a good time to put it all together just so I don't know. There's just stuff that we're looking at as a risk that other people might not recognize as a risk, like subcontract, like when you hire contractors instead of employees. And the laws have changed quite a bit in the last maybe 10 years. And under the different federal administrations, they've shifted a little bit too, the guidance around what is an independent contractor and what is an employee. But the IRS, if there is a functional IRS, can come in and look at your contracts and say, that is an employee, you owe us $40,000 or more. And that can be very difficult for an organization to come up with that kind of money, especially because we have, I think we're kind of proud of some of our smaller grassroots organizations here. So that's really particularly destructive when they get a tax bill based on a finding like that. So that's one thing. And then the payer of last resort piece and unexpended revenue, that comes up a lot. There are often really good explanations for what looks like money that wasn't spent and should be returned to the Mental Health Board Fund. So we get into conversations about that after audits, not before. Supplementation of Medicaid is something that it's a risk that our staff and I know a lot about, that it's kind of hard to explain all the terrible things that we know about in one memo. So I tried to just give one or two examples, but anti-supplementation is a federal law, and the state of Illinois, has the way that its agencies are structured, sets up a weakness and some confusion, which then results in things like Department of Human Services telling agencies to supplement their Medicaid rates, which is against the law. So it's just, the risk is entirely the agencies, and we don't want to lose agencies to an IRS finding or to a Medicaid integrity audit, which they're very rare, but it happens. So anyway, that's it. I probably said more words than are actually in the memo. Sorry.
So is this on our website for agencies to look back on, or they look back on in the agenda item or in this meeting for the items?
We can post this on the public facing page as one of the downloadable documents. It's
Nice.
It's available through the agenda, through the archived meetings, but we can put it there as well.
Because don't we have like a FAQs page?
Kinda. It's got so many questions, but yeah, we could absolutely do that. And I tried to put in a lot of links, like there's this thing right here. It starts with suicide prevention, but it is really more for any grassroots organization. It's just really good advice from SAMHSA for small organizations. And thanks to Chandra Somerville for digging that up. So I tried to put links in that might be helpful to folks. But again, some of these laws change while we're talking. So anyway. I'm going to stop sharing. Is that okay? Okay.
Any questions? All right. Well, thanks, Lynn. The next item is the special requests from agencies.
The first one is different from all the others. This is a request from the Well Experience. I don't know if Ms. Cockrell is on the meeting right now, but I think she did a really good job of explaining what she's asking for. And unfortunately, I've not prepared with the document that I put together with possible motions for this. So I need to find that, but sorry. Did you all have any questions about the request?
So we are holding the January and February payments so far, and most likely we'll hold the March payments. If they don't have the audit in by March 31st, the contract will be canceled. So if the board agrees that the risk of issuing a couple of those payments, which would be like 2 of them, because that would total a little more than the requested amount, is worth it. It's worth it to get them a really thorough audit, which would help us understand their financial position. A motion could be to authorize the 2 withheld monthly payments to them, to the agency.
So here's a draft, and I can obviously, like, I can change this to any motion you all want to make, but I just wanted to be able to put a motion on the screen so that people could know what we're talking about.
So what are people's thoughts? I see Jen's hand up.
I'd be willing to make that motion.
Okay, well, I forget, do we have discussion first? Or do we do discussion after the motion?
I think you can make the motion second and then have board discussion.
Okay, we can do that.
I'm not the expert, but I think that's how you do it. I don't know.
All right, Jen, do you want to make the motion? And then we can have discussion.
I'd like to make a motion to authorize the Champaign County Mental Health Board staff to release 2 withheld monthly payments to the Well Experience so that the agency may pay their contracted independent CPA firm to complete the fiscal year 2022 audit, which is required for release of payment and eligibility for continued funding. Couldn't have said it better myself.
I'll second.
All right, and then do we have discussion? I see Jane's hand up.
Much longer.
So I just had a question. So if we were to approve the release of these 2 payments, what is the estimated turnaround when they would have a completed audit?
Do you know the answer to that, Lynn, or?
You know, Leon, do you know? I don't remember if she said that. You know, I think everybody says, we'll get it right away.
Yeah, I think that's right. We'll get it right away.
So I don't know, like, I'm not sure. Maybe we should email her to find out.
Well, I would just say based on like our other experiences with CPAs and things like that being so backed up, I hate to say, hey, here's January, February, and then they'll be like, oh yeah, you'll get it in May. Because then are they not going to get the March payment? So I was just kind of curious.
Well, they won't get their March payment because there's no way they'll get it done in time for the March payment to go out, which is like next week. But critically important, the contract is canceled on April 1st if there's no audit. So this, I would hope it happens fast. It might be something that you all have to discuss and consider at your next meeting too. I'm not sure if she says it in this letter, so I don't know if it's something I should not repeat, but I know that the CPA firm she's working with is a very thorough one. They are, I don't know if they're doing the county's audit this year, but they have done it before. So Ms. Straub is familiar with this auditor and how thorough they are. So
I am not on the finance, or I do not take charge of the finance committee, so that is not my forte. Sorry.
It's just, it's going to be a very thorough audit. And I think that's why the cost was so much higher than they expected. So anyway, I just don't, like, your question is so good, Jane, and I wish I knew the answer because time matters to us. So.
Jane, would it be helpful for us to amend the motion with some kind of stipulation about expected completion or something like that?
I'm comfortable with what, you know, we're trying to do. I don't want us to all be caught off guard that we're like, what? We release this money and then they're still not gonna have it done forever. And again, we've learned this is not always the agency's fault. So I was just kind of curious as to like if we had a possible timeline.
Well, it's out.
I mean, because you are right. If we don't have it by the March 31st, they're going to lose the funding anyhow. So I guess they must know that, yeah, it'll be by March 31st. So hopefully that'll happen for them.
I think Elaine had something to say, but I can't tell if her screen is frozen.
I think you're right. Elaine, are you still there? You looked frozen and we didn't.
I am, but I don't need to, I'm fine with where we are, if you can even hear me.
Yeah, we can
I
hear
think
you.
it's out of the agency's hands too. It's all up to the auditor. So they can tell the auditor they have a timeline, but I don't know, you know, what else. It looks like they're at the agencies now because of whatever the auditor's schedule is. So
Yeah, I guess the question is
releasing those funds.
Are we going to be voting in 2 months on the contract because if the audit isn't done by March 31st?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it so happens that's a possible agenda item for March because you're waiting for a number of audits and we do not have a clear idea of when those are expected either. There are several that we still don't have. So on March 31st, if they're still not here, the contracts are canceled. So it may be that you're talking about this again in March. I'm so sorry, Matt.
Uh-huh. Well, then we're talking about it in March. That's all right to me.
I mean, we could ask them sort of contingent on us releasing these funds that they give us an update before the March meeting as to what the deadline would be. So then we could make a determination about if we need to extend that. It sounds like that might be an issue for other agencies as well, though.
If you would like us to reach out to all of those agencies for whom audits are outstanding, we can do that prior to the March meeting. We can prepare.
Along those lines, Lynn, would you happen to know, are there any other agencies that are kind of in a similar boat as far as needing their funds to?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
To my knowledge, all of the others have audits that are underway.
Okay.
And we get evidence of that, like Chris Wilson or I get letters that, you know, from the audit firm asking for confirmation of payments. Chris completes those. So then we know that the audit is in progress.
Okay, that's it.
Are you guys ready to vote? Any other discussion? All right. You know, I'm fine not amending it because I think if Lynn just sends an email out to the people that still have audits pending, I think that should be sufficient. If there's any objection, say something now, and otherwise we'll go on with the roll call. All right, Stephanie, can you do roll call?
Jane Sprandel,
Yes.
Matt Hausman,
Yes.
Daphne Maurer,
Yes.
Alexa McCoy,
Yes.
Molly McClay,
Yes.
Joe Omosagie,
Yes.
Elaine Palencia,
Yes.
Jim Straub,
Yes.
John Paul Yoakim.
Yes. All right. The next item I think Lynn will cover is the 4 late application requests.
So these, I think everyone has, each of the letters provides slightly different information about what happened to cause the deadline to be missed, really different situations in each case. So you could take them one at a time. Do you want to say all this, John? Should I stop talking and let you do it?
No, you're doing a good job. You can
Okay.
explain.
Okay, so you could take these requests one at a time and consider them individually. That's totally fine. You're the board. You tell us what you want to do about this. And the agencies have written their specific appeals to you. Or you could do something like you did in 2021. In 2021, just one agency asked for permission to submit the application late, and it was because they just didn't know about the deadline. So that's similar to one of these 4 requests. And what we did then was we created a second open application period so that it was fair. Stephanie created the notice of funding availability and got it into the newspaper 21 days in advance, which is the minimum amount of time for public notification of an open competitive application process. You don't have to leave it open for 5 weeks like we did the first time. You could leave it open for 2 days or 1 day or 4 days. And then, but it means that anyone who wants to apply can do so during that time. So you could do that, or you can consider 4 separate motions. So we're prepared for either way that you want to go. I'm going to stop sharing the screen because you all have the information.
And then you said, I know we discussed a third way also is to make a motion to authorize the mental health board to have the mental health board staff additional time to review the requests.
Oh yeah, well that would be, I would say, this is my request to the board. My request to the board is either way. If you take these requests separately and allow some or all, because their circumstances are all different and probably everybody could do it pretty quickly, or you do a brief open application period. Either way, I need more time because it takes me like I said before, a day to do, and I do it on Saturday when I'm not likely to be getting lots of email. And that's why people can reach me with questions on Saturday, because I'm trying to do things that I'm not interrupted by email in order to do. So time is really an issue, and our staff are similarly occupied. So because we take this review so seriously, and maybe we take it too seriously, I'm not prepared to address that, but I am prepared to ask you for a little more time to create the product that I feel, okay, like it's not really that much of a secret, but not everybody who has 35 and a half years of sobriety is always in recovery. Sometimes they're doing obsessive behaviors like staying up all night working on program summaries as a coping skill. So, maybe I said too much, but it is, I just really want to give you a thorough analysis of every application before you are asked to make a decision about what to do with this money. And the staff are similarly committed. So that motion was, my request to you all is give us a little bit extra time, and then give yourselves a little extra time too, because these decisions are very hard to make, especially if you don't have enough money to fund everything that you like. So anyway, I am talking way too much.
So I think we should have a discussion before we make any motion, just because we have to figure out what kind of motion we want to make. What are people's thoughts about opening up the application process again to the late applicants?
Opening up the application always opens up to maybe 1 or 2 or 10 more applicants. always that possibility. But opening it up for a couple of days and everybody knowing that they have to get it in within those couple of days would hopefully be helpful.
Something you alluded to in your opening remarks, John, and then also I was trying to remember if we had done something similar before, but prioritization of the applications then as well. Did we do something separately before with that, like where they were kind of a lower priority?
Yes, you did in 2021. That's how you did the brief second open application period, and then second, there were 3 applications that were submitted. They were considered as, we'll fund them if we have enough money later. So they got funded like in August. And that was because the county board gave the mental health board a bunch of extra money from their ARPA fund. So those were funded then. But then last year it was a kind of a different situation. It was only one agency, and what you did was allowed me to submit all their forms, so they couldn't do any more work on them, just hit submit. So it was a little bit different.
If we were to open up for it public, would we have to make that, if we were going to make that, say that it was going to be a secondary priority, would that would have to be part of the publication, public notice, then I would assume?
I don't know. Stephanie, is that right?
What was the question again?
So if we opened it up and we're doing it with the knowledge that it would be a secondary priority to the ones that were turned in on time, is that something we'd have to actually advertise as well?
No, we wouldn't have to.
Here's the draft, and we kind of covered it with decisions would be made at, I think it says I can't see the whole thing. This is just our draft. At a meeting, allocation decisions will be made at a meeting of the board, although not necessarily prior to July 1. So that gives you a little bit of leeway. It doesn't say anything about priority, but it sounds like that. I mean, you can add more to this NOFA if you want to. We just drafted this in case you wanted to do that.
The one concern, one of the concerns I have is probably with the applications that will get submitted, we will probably have, well, definitely probably won't have enough money to fund everything this year. And so there are going to be some really tough decisions this year, I think. So I'm not sure if we do what we did in previous years, by saying if we only will consider funding these if we have money left over. I don't think we may not have money left over. So, I mean, if I had to pick for me, it would be more, I wouldn't be deciding based on money left over. For me, it would be when I look at 2 agencies that applied for funding, and I consider them serving the same aspect in our community of what we're trying to target. And one applied on time and one didn't apply on time. And they're both pretty equal. I'm going to pick the one that applied on time to fund. That's how I'm thinking in my decision-making process. But that being said, it depends on when we are able to get the summaries done and be able to vote on funding them. So if it's months down the line and we can only partially fund them, then, you know, at that point we may already be voting on funding for other agencies. So then they may miss out. So I don't know how this is going to play out, but that's kind of my thought process.
Well, if all of these agencies have their applications done, I'm thinking back to your solution of last year where Lynn entered them and they were not allowed to, you know, get an advantage of doing more than having, you know, more time than other agencies did. Is that a possibility? It's not for this year.
There is some organizations did a lot of work, but nobody got all the way to the end. So it's
Well,
a little more
I-
complicated than
Yeah,
that.
okay. I couldn't tell from the letters because I thought, well, maybe they've been working since then, and they are, but you know that they're not done, some of them.
Yeah, they can't do anything after the deadline. So
Mhm.
so I can see what was done. I appreciate some work was done. It's just nothing is ready for me to just go boom, boom, boom.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, that was my question, yeah.
That would be great though.
Yeah. Hmm.
So I guess I have to give my wishy-washy answer like I always do. Dr. John brought up, we all knew when the deadline was. And so maybe waiting to the last minute to submit wasn't the wisest decision. And I understand we have people who are doing more than just their position as the grant writer and things like that. So, I don't want to be a tough person and say, oh, because you're late, you don't get anything. But I am also concerned, if we say these are not going to be priorities, these will be secondary. We've got some pretty big requests here from some very important agencies in our community that serve some very unique populations. And so I hate to put them on a second tier. Again, it is a concern when we're, really causing more work for our staff. So, I definitely feel like I'm leaning towards yes, we open the opportunity up. If we end up with some more applicants, we do, and we go from there. But I always go with the idea of if you open the door for one, you have to open it for all. And so I really feel like if we're going to do this, everyone has the opportunity to finish their application or possibly start one.
It's possible that someone would come out of nowhere with your dream come true proposal. It's just, it's awkward that we're in this situation, but maybe things will work out really, really well. I don't know. Is this a motion that maybe you all want to talk some more, but I just wanted to show you a possible motion and then a possible NOFA.
And probably the NOFA could go into the paper this Sunday. I can't be for certain. I don't know. If the News Gazette has changed their policies, then maybe not, but probably it could go in Sunday.
So I don't know what everyone else is thinking, but I'm kind of in agreement with Jane. I would open it up to anybody to apply for the second application or for the second opening for the application process, and then I would also do the other motion at the that Lynn was saying, to give staff more time to be able to complete the process. I guess I'm just kind of disappointed in this situation. I would like for things to be done on time and not have to do all this, but it is what it is. And so I think that's probably the best option, and we'll see how things go when we move forward. But if there's any other comments or discussion or questions, I'm happy to hear it before I make a motion. So.
Well, last year there was one, now there are four, and I think, we'll have to think next year if there are more than four, we're probably going to have to make another decision entirely, another process. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I mean, there's one, it's, you know, the kind of difference between being accommodating and then being more than that. And it's just, it's unfortunate because, you know, like Jane was saying, some of these are big programs that provide vital services to a lot of people in the community. And it's just, I hate that we're in this situation. It's really disappointing. I
have a question for you. Is this enough time? It's less than 48 hours. You can do whatever you want here.
I think it's enough time. I think opening it up is, I mean, yes, we want things to be on time. We want things to be signed, sealed, delivered on time. However, things happen. I think it's opening it up, and yes, it's a lot of work for the board to work on, for you, Lynn, and everyone else. But I hope we can have a conversation about what to do next time or how to prevent this a little bit. I mean, we talked about how to prevent it before. Maybe I don't know, we can make sure we find a way to make sure that this doesn't happen again. I don't know. So I'm just talking around in circles right now because I want to have it open.
Well, I think overall, several of us are disappointed in the situation. And as I sit here thinking, I have a senior in high school right now, and if she misses a deadline on a scholarship, that will affect her and really her only. Where, you know, we're putting a 17-year-old in that position of here's your deadline, you have to have it done. And we have professionals who missed a deadline, but the problem is because of a missed deadline, that's going to affect hundreds to thousands of people versus one student who's trying to get a cheaper education for college. So just a perspective, you know.
I definitely hear what Jane is saying, and I'm definitely understanding that I am new to this board, but I do think it's also important for us all to recognize that this is a really unique time in social services and in our community. And the agencies I know are struggling right now. And maybe it's okay for us to give a little leeway. And also, as Joe said, to figure out next year how to make sure that we are setting very clear deadlines with very clear expectations, and maybe we can take that leeway away.
All right, I think we're all in agreement, so I am gonna go ahead and make a motion to authorize the CCMHB staff to post a second notification of funding availability, giving 21 days notice of a limited open period for submission of the fiscal year 2024 funding requests.
I'll second it.
All right, can I have a roll call, please?
Matt Hausman,
Yes.
Daphne Maurer,
Yes.
Alexa McCoy,
Yes.
Molly McClay,
Yes.
Joe Omosagie,
Yes.
Elaine Palencia,
Yes.
Jen Straub,
Yes.
Jane Sprandel,
Yes.
John Paul Joachim.
Yes. All right. I also want to make I'll make the second motion as well then. Just, and if anyone has any wants to make any discussion, I'll make it after the motion. But I'll move to approve to authorize the CCMHB staff additional time to review the fiscal year 2024 funding requests submitted during the second open period and to develop related summaries and recommendations with both activities along a timeline different from the last posted in allocation process documents.
I will second it.
All right, is there any discussion? All right, seeing none, can I have a roll call, please?
Daphne Maurer,
Yes.
Alexa McCoy,
Yes.
Molly McClay,
Yes.
Joe Omosagie,
Yes.
Elaine Palencia,
Yes.
Jen Stroud,
Yes.
Jane Sprandel,
Yes.
Matt Hausman,
Yes.
John Paul Joachim.
Yes. All right. Now, the next item on the agenda is old business. So we have the agency fiscal year 23, quarter 2 service activity reports.
Oh, sorry, I have that ready. Here we go. There it is. This is the first time that we've put these in the mental health board packet. The DD board has them every quarter. We just never done this for the mental health board because there are so many programs, but here's some good news. When we started putting this board packet together, everybody's quarterly reports were done. So a round of applause for timely second quarter reports, and even a lot of them even had revisions. So it was that was a really good process. That was at the end of January, and then we got it all together for the board packet. So one thing that I thought you might like is some agencies put really interesting comments in there. I mean, the tallies are, it's nice to see if people are on track. You can ask them, you know, if things are going really well or really poorly, you can ask them why, but the comments are really interesting. So anyway, that's all.
So when you get these reports and say I mean, obviously if they're excelling, that's excellent, that's amazing. But if they are not meeting their target or their expectations, do you reach out to them and say, hey, what's going on? Because if they may not put the reasons in the comments.
Yeah, and a lot of times it's obvious from the financial reports what's going on. So Chris does a deep analysis of the financial reports, and he'll ask for more information if it's not provided. But a lot of times you can tell if they're underspent on salaries, then there's going to be low utilization. So sometimes we ask, but a lot of times it's obvious and it's answered in the financials. But and some take the time to comment on hiring staff and staff retention issues as well. But a lot of it is, you know, like this is nice. We get some case studies in some of these. So anyway. Yeah.
Well, thank you for including them. I like having them.
It's nice because it kind of gives you an idea of who's excelling, who's having some technical, like some difficulties, and like maybe with hiring people or, you know, getting, having staff retention, those kind of things. So it's kind of interesting just to see who's where.
Right. There's a special report that's due in the second quarter, and that's a report, it's a brief report on progress in the cultural and linguistic competence plan. So some of those weren't done, or they were done on a different form. And so Chandra asked for some clarifications and revisions, and I think they're all done now for everybody that we're funding, but that took a little bit longer. So I just need to qualify. And she has a report at the end of the board packet that clarifies what was in by the deadline. So. I'm ready to ramble because I had a lot of coffee today. So contain it. But just like, okay, just PS. Every federal agency that talked to us at NACO and NACBID last week talked about cultural and linguistic competence. I was so proud of us. Okay. anyway.
All right. Are there any other comments or questions for Lynn? All right. Thanks, Lynn. Seeing none, we'll go on to the 211 quarterly reports.
I'm still scrolling for it. Sorry. If you like the agency service activity reports, we can do that again. This was a test. So.
I feel like earlier on, like the first quarter, it's probably hard to know where things are going in the second quarter even too. I think Races in one of their quarterly reports was saying that the school cycles end on different periods to get like the participant numbers, so they can't get all their numbers. So Q3 and Q4 are probably more informative of how they're doing. But it's still nice to see.
Well, cool. We'll try it again then. It was fun. I think it was fun. Here's the 2-on-1 stuff. It's so pretty.
I feel like it's pretty consistent with past reports. You know, housing is usually the most predominant call for 2-on-1. I know housing costs this year are going to be going up, so I know that's obviously very stressful with inflation. Obviously, food costs are going up. People are already living paycheck to paycheck, so there's going to be a lot of stress this year on families, I feel.
Not a lot of Spanish calls.
Nice that the average time is like they're on hold is less than 30 seconds.
So this organization is also providing the 988 service to most of the state, and that part of that crisis now model is to answer the phone fast. I mean, if it's a suicide call, 30 seconds matters. So. It's so pretty, isn't it? Or am I going too fast?
I mean, you're doing well. One of the things was the second story they had in there was about an older caller trying to come up with a copay for their medication. I don't know how it works for Medicare patients for elderly, but I think people, I don't know if everyone knows, but as a doctor, I know you can have one insurance and you can pick up the prescription at Walmart. You can pick up the same prescription at Meijer, CVS, Walgreens, and there'll be different prices. And typically, from my experience, not always true for all medication, but for the majority, Walgreens is the most expensive. Then CVS is like down here, and then Meijer and Walmart are pretty far to the bottom. They're like the cheapest. So if you want cheap prescriptions, usually it's going to be Walmart and Meijer. And if you go on goodrx.com, that's one of the sites you can go to see, like, compare prescription prices. You can go on there and kind of see the difference in prices. Obviously, your insurance is going to make a difference on that. So you won't pay. You can get a coupon from GoodRx or get a GoodRx card, and they can run it and give you that discount. But that at least will be the most you will pay for your prescription. But at least gives you an idea of how much the prescription is going to cost, depending on which pharmacy you go to. Obviously, Walgreens now is really not, it's kind of crappy because I guess they didn't pay their pharmacists well, and a lot of them just left to other places. And so their wait times are terrible. They're not open on weekends. A lot of them, they have limited hours. So it used to be more of like they had good hours and it was easy to get through, and that's why I was paying the higher price. But now it's just terrible. So. All right. There's no other comments. We can move on to the MHB and the DDB schedule and schedules and the MHB timeline. That's on 148.
Do you mind if I don't show it?
Yeah, it's okay. So the next meeting is the study set, or is the meeting on the March 22nd, and that's the regular meeting. And then we'll have a study session after that, the week after, on the 29th. And then I don't know if I told Joe, but I won't be there on the 29th, unfortunately. So you'll have to study without me.
And I have to read all that stuff now.
It's going to be a good one. I think we have presentations on the 22nd and the 29th. Very much looking forward to all of them. So.
All right. The next item on the agenda is agency input. So if there's any agencies that would like to make a comment, they can make a comment now. Just limit your comments to 5 minutes.
If I may, I would like to make a brief comment.
Yep, go
And
ahead.
that is, I appreciate your consideration. We were very close to getting ours in on time. In my 20 years with the Community Foundation, these situations would happen occasionally, but we also knew that everybody would be applying at the last minute. So I appreciate your consideration. We're ready to go, and we will get it in on time. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. The next item is the Champaign County Developmental Disabilities Board input.
Oh, good. It's me again. They met this morning. They had a similar agenda, a little bit less special topics. They did not have a mid-year progress report because they don't have a lot of new stuff going on to hear about. They did not have a student report to hear about. So we thought this was going to be a really short meeting, but they had very robust public input today. It's been a long time since the DD board had that kind of public input. It was very compelling. And some of our staff team followed up, and a board member as well, to try to help the person. So that it really, brought me back to why we're doing this. So anyway.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
All right. Let's move on to staff reports. I mean, the main comment I just want to make is that it seemed like everybody was very busy.
They were, but look at this. Here's something. If you have time tomorrow morning, we're having an accessibility training on Word documents, and then in a month on accessible websites. This is a result of our own work on accessibility on our site and on our documents. And so hopefully other providers will attend, because we all, there's room for improvement. So we're learning, and we're really excited to be able to, I'm so appreciative of Kim putting this together so quickly for us. So I don't know if y'all got the invitation, but join us if you can.
Dr. Joachim.
Hi, Chandra. Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to let you know that where in my report where there were some CLC program CLC quarterly reports outstanding, all of those have been turned in now.
Excellent. Thank you. And that's on 173, correct?
Correct.
All right, we'll move on to board reports. Are there any board reports?
Yes, I attended the Community Coalition meeting, and rather than go into it all, I will just say that every Thursday after the Wednesday of a Community Coalition meeting, the News Gazette carries a summary. Ethan Simmons is a reporter that always attends those meetings, so they have a very serviceable summary every Thursday if you want to know what goes on there. I will say that over time, I perhaps have said this before, I've noticed that there is a lot more networking, a lot more intentionality in the presentations, and so it's a good thing for any of you to attend to see many of our agencies that we fund present there or give news, but then there are also other ones that one doesn't know about that are coming up. So that's a good general way to find out what's going on in social services.
I haven't attended in a while. Is it available by Zoom or is it still just in person?
I think it's just in person.
Yes, it's just in person.
Yeah.
Thanks, Elaine. Are there any board announcements?
Oh, can I do a board to board?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Okay, sorry. Tomorrow at the full board meeting for the county board, we will have an update from the ARPA project manager. I'm just personally just so grateful for that ARPA money and all of the great things that we've been able to do for the county. And it's worth checking out the footage for just a little snippet afterwards. Don't bore yourself with all the rest. But it's been, I think all this work is very overlapping. And also the Urbana Park District is going to present to us about a request for ARPA, which again, all related. So that's all I wanted to say about that.
All right. Any other board to board announcements or reports? All right, seeing none, any board announcements? All right, and then we will do other business. So we have a closed executive session. So we'll need a motion to move the board, or a motion that the board moved into executive session. I guess I can do that. So I'll move that the board move to executive session, exception 5 ILCS 120-2C11 of the Open Meetings Act, to discuss potential litigation, and that the following individuals remain present: members of the Champaign County Mental Health Board, Executive Director Canfield, Operations and Compliance Coordinator Howard Gallo, and Attorney Barbara Mann.
That's the motion.
Okay, yep. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right. And then I'll have a roll call.
Matt Hausman,
Yes.
Daphne Maurer,
Yes.
Alexa McCoy,
Yes.
Holly McClay,
Yes.
Joe Omosagie,
Yes.
Elaine Palencia,
Yes.
Jim Stroud,
Yes.
Jane Sprandel,
Yes.
John Paul Joachim.
Yes. So I think the way this is going to work is we'll click on the other link for the closed session, and then do we exit this one?
Well, what we'll do, I'll pause this recording and then start the other one if everybody's got the link, and then I'll come back here when we're ready to go back into open session. I may have to leave the room for a minute because my battery is going to die, so I got to go get my charger, but y'all can, our attorney is going to be there and Stephanie will be there, and then I'll come back and join you and you can get the context. So does everybody have the link?
Yep.
All right, I'll see you over there.
All right. I think everybody is here. We are going back into open session. Stephanie, can I have a roll call? Oh, you're on mute.
Okay. Matt Hausman,
Here.
Daphne Maurer,
Here.
Alexa McCoy,
I think she's been gone for a little bit.
Molly McClay,
Here.
Joe Omosagie,
Here.
Elaine Palencia,
Here.
Jen Straub,
Here.
Jane Sprandel,
Here.
John Paul Joachim.
Here. All right. Seeing that we're all back, I will move for the motion for Lynn Canfield to continue restorative measures with Rattle the Stars, and to continue reaching out to address the board members of Rattle the Stars and the director for resolution into the matter. And if in the eventuality no resolution is made, to then pursue legal action.
I will second that motion.
All right, is there any discussion? Did anyone have any issues with the
The only thing is that we didn't come up with a date or a deadline or anything.
That's true.
You mentioned 4 weeks. I'm fine with the 4 weeks. I don't use that.
I'm fine with 4 weeks. I don't think we need to put it in the motion. I think Lynn direction, so I think she should just do it the 4 weeks.
That's fine by me.
That sound good with
Do
everybody?
we need to specify the like what we're trying to collect in the motion, or no?
I don't know. That's a good question. No. All right.
Well, I think that since it's a self-reported number, I'm not sure that's 100% correct because we have yet to get her audit either. So
Can
maybe
we
we should just say any. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Are we supposed to be talking about this right now? I think that we need to stop.
Thanks, Jen. All right. All right. So any other amendment or any other discussion about changing the motion? All right. So with that being said, we'll go on with roll call.
Matt Hausman,
Yes.
Daphne Maurer,
Yes.
Molly McClay,
Yes.
Joe Omosagie,
Yes.
Elaine Palencia,
Yes.
Jen Straub,
Yes.
Jane Sprandel,
Yes.
John Paul Joachim.
Yes. All right. With that being done, we will move to adjourn. Thank you, everybody, for staying extra long today. I know you all are tired and hungry and want to be with your families, so I will let you all go. I don't think we need a motion, right? I'll move to adjourn. All right.
So be moved.
Yep. See you next month.
Good work, everybody.
Great work.